and move ahead for sure.
If I may, I want to ask you about something that's been in the news a great deal over the last 48 hours, and that is Elon Musk and Starlink, and the stories that have emerged of how Elon Musk personally disconnected Ukrainian autonomous vehicles that were traveling toward Sevastopol, aiming an attack at the Russian Black Sea fleet. And Musk decided that, in his opinion, and it seems he'd consulted with some unknown Russian officials, that this would lead to an unacceptable escalation, and he cut off the necessary links for those autonomous vehicles. I'm not sure how much you can tell us about that, but I am interested to know about the continued reliance on Starlink, whether it indeed is a continued reliance, and what you are doing to ensure that that kind of thing that happened back then never happens again.
Well, for first, media stories are exactly for the sake of them being media stories. It's hard to tell whether truth sits, what is invented. This is my first comment. Secondly, I'm personally not sure that Elon Musk himself pressed some buttons to stop some of the drones from moving. This is, again, my personal opinion. Now, as regards Starlink systems, and they were inoperative. They went inoperative for some time nearby Crimea. Yes, that was true. We did use some special equipment, and we understood that there was no coverage for us available at the moment. So, yeah, we did understand that. But again, Starlink systems did play an exceptional role, and they continue playing it because many systems use antenna and just Starlink components for communication purposes, for data links with drones, particularly when remote communication is required with command points. And they've been rather good on the front line. We can discuss how good, how bad they are, but for a fact, the whole front line has been relying on them. This is true.
Can I ask you a somewhat related question? Because who knows what was going on in Elon Musk's mind, but certainly the supposed explanation was the risk of escalation. And your partner countries have been very clear about not, or at least not yet, allowing you to have certain weaponry of long-range weaponry for concerns about escalation that Western weaponry would be used. Now there are capabilities increasingly of hitting targets inside Russia that are Ukrainian capabilities. What do you think about this argument that this risks escalation, that Putin could react in a dangerous way? Because it is an argument, right or wrong, that is heard certainly in the United States a lot. And so I wondered what your response to that argument would be, that this kind of greater action risks escalation.
Yet again, you are talking about this great, scary Putin, am I right? Let me once again remind you this conversation that we had a few days ago with you. Back then I told you, it isn't for the record, it's true. It's just for understanding the situation in the proper light. I said that back then, and I keep saying that basically you formulate your questions based on the Western logic, which is something that stems from Russia House. But the situation is reverse. Russia is not single-handedly controlling the situation, because all types of weaponry has already been employed, starting with submarines all the way to strategic aviation. This is the first war, most definitely, when all types of armory has been employed. Therefore, my answer is plain and simple. You needn't formulate the questions like that and change the logic of your questions, will you? Because not everything belongs to the Russians or is in their check. Absolutely not everything, and not in check of other players on the world arena. Something also slightly depends on us in this respect.